Welcome to another episode of Connecting Minds. On this episode, we're going to be talking about building a better you, finding the strategies to move forward by looking backwards. So stay tuned. Oh, and wait, there's more. I have a special guest. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this topic started. Again, the topic is building a better you. I have with me a special guest, my brother-in-law, Damian Briscoe. We're gonna go down this segment together. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna just talk. That's what we're gonna do. So, welcome to the podcast, Damian.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right. So what we're going to do is, like I said, we're going to talk about building a better relationship. The premise of this is being able to move forward by looking backwards at some of the things that have gone wrong in your life, some of the poor decision making of your parents that affected you even now as an adult, and your performance to be able to do better. This is not to indict them. It's not to slam those people who may have contributed to some of the obstacles that have been placed in front of you, but really to find a better way to plan. So the first thing we're going to talk about on this, is looking backwards. It is very important to understand that in order to move forward, you got to look back at history. Some people may say, you should never look back. I strongly disagree with that, Damian. I really do.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. You hear people say, never look back, just keep going forward, don't look back. But it's a couple of blessings you get from looking back. One of them is the recognizing how far you've come. I work with people, and sometimes I tell them, they say, well, not this week. I had a bad week. I don't want to record today. I don't want to take record of my progress today. And I say, well, then next week when you have progress, you won't know what your progress was from week to week, So it's always good to go back every now and then, to look back, to take an assessment, just to see how far you've come. You may surprise yourself. Another thing with looking back is identifying what the issue is. A lot of us are running from something, and we don't even know what the hell it is we're running from.
Exactly.
We never turn around.
You're right.
Now, I understand, I'm not saying be like them folks in the movie that's, constantly looking back and tripping over where they're running to.
Oh my gosh.
Right,
We're just running, but we don't know why.
Right.
And where is he?
But you do want to know what you're running from, because there's going to be, at some point, the reason people don't get away is because at some point you can't run anymore, and you're going to have to confront what it is you're running from. Exactly. So you need to identify that, and you got to look back to do that.
And I piggybacking on what you said, Damien, is you can go through life not really looking back, digging your head in the sand and act like the problem doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. But sometimes God can't move us forward because we haven't addressed the issues of yesterday. Mm-hmm. God can't bless us with certain things because we're not willing to assess and reflect on what it is that needs to be done in order for us to move from point A to point B, and to be able to understand how in the world that I'm going to get past this if I'm not willing to look back and figure out what the problem really is. Am I the problem, or is it the company that I'm surrounded with is the problem? Because sometimes your blessings can be stopped because of your company. Mm-hmm. Because you got to look at it this way. God is an investor. And if we're asking God to do X, Y, and Z in our life, as an investor, they must assess you, assess your patterns, assess your portfolio, and to see, are you worthy to be invested in? Because when they invest in you, they're putting their name on the line. Mm-hmm. And sometimes God can't do certain things in our life because we represent him. We say we represent him. We post on Facebook, we represent him, but our lifestyle or the decisions we make don't line up with who he is. Mm-hmm. So we got to assess it. We have to really really nail it down to the point where we figure out, is it how I grew up? Is it, what was said to me that affected me in a negative way? Is it some of the bad decisions I made? And the coolest thing about assessing, those things that may have happened to you, Damien, is it gives you an opportunity to know where you're going. And I feel like if you're smart enough to assess yourself, if you're smart enough to look back and figure out what went wrong, whether it was some of the decisions you made or some of the decisions that were made for you as a child, it lets me know that you're smart enough to do that. That means you are smart enough to prepare to move forward, Damien.
True that. And I hate doing this because I misquote things a lot. I get the meaning from them, but I'm not really good at repeating the quote. But I read somewhere recently where a friend of mine had posted, the gist of it was, do not, if you don't heal from the cuts of your past relationships, then you'll bleed on the people in your current one.
Wow, that's powerful.
And I was like, dang, like that's real serious. Like how many times have we not dealt with those issues that we needed to deal with before, moving forward? Again, that's another aspect of going back, making sure that what needs to be dealt with is dealt with, what needs to be healed inside of you is healed, before you just keep moving forward and then start damaging other people. Fix the damage in you, and then you're able to move forward and grow with someone else.
And that is exactly some good hot and spicy nuggets, because we especially if you're a parent, you don't ever want to parent through a place of hurt, bitterness, and anger. Because even in that state of mind, we raise our kids from a dark place. Instead of raising our kids from a position of, I didn't like when it happened to me, and I don't want it to happen to my children.
Right.
But instead, we repeat the same thing because that's all we were familiar with. And just because you may have grown up a certain way, that doesn't make it right. Just because things were said to you in a harmful way doesn't make it right. So one of the worst things to do, especially parents, is impose that onto your children. We say we love our children. What is it that we give them? Monetary things come and go. But what sticks to them? And keep this in mind. Your children should feel like they should come to you, that their voice should be heard and respected. I know in my experience, as well as others who I've talked to, when you take a voice away from a child in their own home, they will turn to substance. They will talk. They will let the weed talk for them. They will let the alcohol talk. They will let sex talk. They will let rebellious talk. And that's one of the worst things you can take from any child, is their voice. In my household, my family, we are a team. I let them know we are a team. Your input matters. I can't steer the ship without your assistance. And if we make people around us, Damon, feel as though that they are a team when we're building, that they are a part of this, it is very effective with building a better you. Because there's a quote by Jim Rohn that says, in order to attract attractive people, you must become attractive.
How about that?
So we got to position ourselves, and we got to position ourselves, whether in your career or your personal life or your spiritual life, to attract the right types of people. And that brings me to my next point, making a conscious decision to drop the baggage.
No.
The baggage could be anything. And I want to quote a Bible scripture. I don't have a street. I don't have an address. I don't have the number, but I know it's in the book. It's in the Gospels. And Jesus mentioned. He said, if your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. If your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. Because what happened, and he also mentioned, he said, it is better to have have an eye missing than having your whole body thrown into the pits of hell.
Right, right. That's Matthew 29. Just to put that out there because people need to know. You know, somebody want to look it out and find it.
Matthew 29.
So Matthew 29.
Okay, so Matthew 29.
Matthew 5:29.
There we go. Matthew 5:29.
Don't mind me. I'm an old man. But yeah, it's Matthew 5:29.
Matthew's 5:29. And we gotta drop the baggage, and that baggage could be a longtime friend.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing against them, but they're not helping you to get where you're trying to go. Mm-hmm. The late Miles Monroe mentioned in an interview that when you know what your purpose is, you'll build your life around that purpose. Mm-hmm. You'll build your spending habits around that purpose, the people you hang out with around that purpose, what you watch, what you read, what you listen to around that purpose. And once you narrowed the tools you need to move forward, everything else is just baggage. Mm-hmm. Prioritizing what is necessary in this moment right now in your life, what is necessary to help you become a better you. Mm-hmm. What baggage do you need to drop off? What is holding you back? What is holding us back from becoming a better version of us? What is holding us back from becoming a definitive version, a deluxe version, 2.0 maybe, upgraded version? What apps in our life we need to get rid of to make our phones run better, metaphorically speaking?
Yeah, that's a metaphor most people can get with, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny that is your second point. One thing I've started doing. And I started doing it subconsciously, and then I made note of it. I realized what I was doing, and then I enforced it. I started putting people in their place in my life, and what I mean by that is I've had the blessing to meet a lot of people, and I've made some friends. You know, some are going to be lifelong friends, and even though they're my lifelong friend, they do not add anything to my bank account. You know, they don't add anything to my well-being. They don't add anything to my family. You know, they're friends. Well, I'll say they're great associates. They're associates that when I get 5-10 minutes and we talk on the phone, you know, hey, there's a smile, you know, there you go. There are people who, hey, I need you to, and I'll be happy to do it for them. But when I'm in need, it's not even that they're not willing to help. It's that they have no way. They are not set up to help me in my mission at all. So I had to make sure that those people I kept on a different shelf than my people who we roll together. That when the times are hard, we strap up our boots together, roll our sleeves up together, and go into battle together. You know, I can't have them both on the same level, because if the battle comes and I call on them, you know, I'm gonna get slammed by the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I need somebody
definitely.
who's show enough to go in this thing with me. So I didn't quite drop them, but I did prioritize them. And some people have a problem with dropping people right off the back. You know, oh, I'm not that kind of person. I'm not going to lead them because they've been my friend forever. But they're not investing into your spiritual wealth or your physical wealth, you know, or any your financial wealth. They're not investing in you as a person, or your family, or your business, or your purpose. So if you're not going to drop them, at least put them at the back of the line. You know what I mean? I'm not saying don't help them if you can when you call, but don't make their issues more important than what you have to do. Exactly. You know, put them in their proper place. And I can't tell you what their proper place is because I don't know them. But you do. And in the back actually not even in the back, in the front of your mind, you know, you just choose to ignore it.
Exactly. And that's one thing, to be committed to them, It's a whole other thing to be committed to yourself. You gotta love yourself first. You gotta love yourself more enough, especially, if you're on a mission. Like I said, this segment is about building a better you. And just like a rocket, a rocket takes you, so a rocket can take you to the moon, but there are other parts to that rocket that helps the rocket get into the atmosphere. And sometimes there are people in your life who are there to get you to a certain point, to get you past the atmosphere. Because if you notice, the rocket will break off because it then got to a point where it can move on its own. It can be navigated on its own. It doesn't need the assistance of a rocket to boost it to the atmosphere, because it's in the atmosphere. And because you're in the atmosphere, you no longer need them. They won't be there. And sometimes we try to make temporary people permanent people in our lives. But they're not. They will only put into your life to help you get to a certain point. Even some of the bad apples in our life, they were only there to teach us a lesson. Sometimes you gotta, in order for you to protect yourself, you gotta know where you're weak at. You gotta know where you're vulnerable at, because you can't protect what you don't value. And if it's valuable to you, you protect it. So that's one of the most important things that I want you to understand. I want that we should understand, is being able to realize where our friends fit at, realize where people fit at, because you don't want to forfeit your destiny messing around with birds that you shouldn't be flocking with.
How about that?
And the eagle looks up. Eagles, if you notice, eagles don't hang out with chickens. Chickens too busy looking down, eating on the ground, eating whatever they can put in their mouth. And
Scraps.
That eagles don't roll with chickens. And this is not to indict your friends. This is not to indict the people you're with. It's not to indict your family.
No.
But, you got to be wise enough to know who do you need right now to get you to where you need to go.
Take inventory. Take inventory of your people, of your friends, and of your family. It's funny that you use the rocket analogy, because like you said, after you're propelled into space, you don't need the rockets anymore. You can do things on your own. And the funny thing is, if those rockets stay with you, you're going to go straight past the moon.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to drive into some dark place that you do not need to be. Also, let's say you do make it to your destination and you're coming back down with rockets on. You're going to slam into the earth because as you re-enter, you need another person. You need that parachute to come out, and slowly help you descend. So you really do have to take inventory of your people, but also when doing that, take inventory of yourself. A plane doesn't take off if it has too much baggage on it. So make sure you're not carrying any unnecessary baggage. I know sometimes people say, hey, just take what you need. Take what you need, y'all. Take what you need and let's go. Take what you need and let's go.
Yeah.
If you know me, I don't need a hairdryer. But I know some people that would pack it. They'll pack combs and hair dryers and all the time have a bald head. And, you don't need all that stuff in your bag, in your suitcase, man. See if you could take your baggage down from 3 bags to 2. If you could just do that, then you've made a significant change in your life.
Exactly.
Next year you can work on turning them 2 bags into 1, and then before you know it, you're just rolling with a backpack. But just take inventory of yourself as well to make sure you're not carrying unneeded baggage.
So is it safe to say that as planes have weight limits, we should also have weight limits as well with the baggage we carry?
Oh, definitely. Most definitely. MOSD, definitely.
So, and then, like, if you're a first-time packer, you've never been on a vacation or haven't been in a while, you usually pack more than what you should. But as you begin to travel more, you can begin to condense what is important, what's really not important. You really need 5 pairs of heels.
Right. At the beach.
Yeah. Do you really really need 7 towels? You know,
Right.
are you planning on coming back?
Yeah. How about that?
And the next point I want to talk about is making a commitment to transform your life. Commit to it. Commit to transform your life. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Sometimes we quit, Damien, because we're not patient with ourselves.
That is true.
Because I was on a listening to a YouTube video about a church who was talking about Steph Curry,
Okay.
and he was making a mention of the topic was pretty much, why shouldn't you be like my church? You shouldn't copy my church, and you shouldn't copy anybody. As a matter of fact, and he making a mention about Steph Curry and how kids are trying to make shots like Steph Curry. And he said, Steph Curry practiced a long time to make shots like that. And I was like, oh, that is so awesome, because we want to be professionals being amateurs. We want to be the best, but we haven't went through the process to becoming the best. We haven't studied long enough. We haven't sacrificed long enough. We haven't read long enough. We haven't cried hard enough, and we didn't do the things that was necessary to get us there. We just want the destination without traveling. We just want to warp there. We don't want to go through what it took to get there. Steph Curry, he had to make sure his form was right, or, timing everything. And what do you do when you're under this amount of pressure? How do you shoot when people are heckling you? And what do you do when you're flying down the court and you want to make a 3-point shot? How do you prepare your body to respond? What they will call in the fitness and the athletic world, muscle memory. How do you train your body to be able to shoot without really you giving forth a conscious effort, where, from our perspective, what you did is effortless. But how do you get to a point in your life where what you do, the habits you do, Damien, what do you do to get to a point in your life where what you do becomes muscle memory, where it becomes, the conscious become subconscious? You wake up, because now at one point I had to train my body to get to this point, and now I don't really have to train it because it's at a point where it feels natural for my body to do it. How does one get to a point where the conscious become unconscious as far as the habits that we build to move forward and to transform our life?
Yeah, you have to invest in self, man. You have to invest in self, and that means everything from reading, from studying. And I know personally, I was not the best student in the world. You know what I'm saying? I could always speak pretty well, and I could play a teacher like a harp, man. But I really wasn't a great student, and I was even worse home studier. But I picked up on the information pretty quickly. But that just leaves you with a surface understanding, and you can't really go into being the best at something with a surface understanding. So if you really want, to be the best at what you're doing, or to do what you're doing to its full potential, you're going to have to learn to study, teach yourself how to study. We live in an age right now where we can access information at a snap of a finger, man. We can learn just about anything. YouTube will teach you, Google will teach you. And the best thing about it is it's not just one person teaching you. It's like you can get 3 or 4 sources, and you want to get 3 or 4 sources because you want to make sure one of them not wrong.
Yeah.
And you're going to base your whole philosophy on,
you
some
never
wrong
do that.
stuff. So, the information is out there, but you have to go get it. You have to invest in yourself enough to go do it. You have to love yourself enough to go do it. You have to push fear to the side. People are fear of 2 things, either failure or success.
Yeah.
And whichever it is, you have to get over that fear so that you can do what it is that you are purposed to do. If you want to be happy, you got to go get happiness. You like that girl. She was cute. You went and go talk to her. You thought he was fly. You went and hollered at him. Now, what about you? What about your life?
Yeah.
What about the things that are important? Go and holler at it, holler at it and put in that time. Once you put in that time and then you invest in it and you get it, don't be like that old high school relationship. Once you got it, now you kind of, leave it alone. You get bored with it, tired with it. No, keep investing in it, keep studying in it. And like you said, make this, if this is your lifelong thing, then you're going to grow with it and you're going to invest in it, put your time in it, and it's going to grow with you. It might change from what it originally was. I had a friend who was writing a book, and her book went well. She did very well with it, and she thought that was her goal, to write a book. But she was kind of stuck afterwards because she was like, I don't know what to do with my life. I always wanted to write a book about my life, and now I don't know what to do.
She became a goal-getter. A goal getter.
Yeah, well, her goal changed,
Yeah,
God put into her, okay, good, you got it. Now I need to see this up on the screen.
Yeah.
And that's what she's doing now. She's working with some people to put this up on the screen, So she's she's blessed. She's doing what she's supposed to do, and she was fluid enough to change, to realize that she had to change, and then change what she was doing. But she would have never gotten that far if she hadn't invested in her vision, invest in her promise, and then made it come into a reality. So
yeah, and that itself take time. You gotta be able to set short-term goals that lead up to your long-term goal, and to be able to do that requires you to understand that it is not a marathon. It is it is a marathon, but it's not a sprint. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to wrap up this episode of Connecting Minds to Success, Building a Better You. So thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Connecting Minds. You have a blessed one. Peace out. Being able to move forward can be a challenge. And that's why I put this episode together. To be able to help you, the listeners, on how to strategize in planning better, looking and reflecting, but most importantly, finding a strategy to build a better you. It is possible to do it. I know it can be. I know it will be. You just have to plug in. You just have to put forward a plan of action so that you can be a better you. This concludes Connecting Minds to Success. Peace out.